Hi,
Hey
everybody.
everybody, how you all doing today? Brother Jimmie and Sister Honey here for episode 22 of Embody the New You. So, welcome, beloved family. Thank you for joining us here for this episode. It's going quick, isn't it, Sister
Oh, it
Honey?
is.
Very fast.
There's a lot of
Very.
things going on, and it feels like we're about ready to speed up.
It is going to speed up. We've got some really great information today on embodying the new you. So make sure you stick around. And at the end, as always, Sister Honey will get us all nice and grounded. We'll do some activation to help everybody. Again, this Friday is the 12/12 portal. So lots going on. And we're going to talk about that also today. But I know a lot of people have been feeling more clear, more neutral, or more sensitive lately. You're already moving into the next phase of this evolution. Last week we explored the identity shift. We talked about that, episode 21. So you might want to take a look at that. And today we are taking the next step, how to truly live as the version of you that is emerging. And that's so important because this 12/12 portal coming up also gives you a period of time before year one, which starts next year in 2026, to understand who you truly are, what you're here to do, and what is serving you and what is not, and really get a clear picture on that. That's really important. But Sister Honey, when you tune in, what are you feeling in the collective as people step into this new identity? What kind of energy are you feeling?
It depends on where you're at. So some people are being forced to let go of certain things. So maybe they feel like they're going through a dark night of the soul. And that's really important to allow yourself to let go and not hang on to stuff because it's not in your highest good to hang on to stuff right now. And that means hanging on to relationships that are not working, that are really hard, hanging on to behaviors that are really hard. So we're kind of cleaning up all of that. And we've been doing that for a month. All the things that we were avoiding letting go of have been really coming up for quite a while now. And now we're moving into okay, well, I'm willing to let that go. So, how do I move forward? And that's the creation of better habits for ourselves, more awareness, and just really being the true version of you. So, that's massively important right now. And that's what I would strive for as we go through this portal.
Absolutely. And before we go any further, first, let me show you this beautiful image. Pretty awesome looking.
Yeah.
Embody the new you. And we would like you to please share, comment, subscribe, or follow, depending on where you're watching this. It's really important. The more folks that you help with information, help them step into the light, help them increase their frequency, the more you're helping everybody. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Um, it's interesting because I know people are starting to feel more like themselves again, but the energy is getting ready to blast us again. You made a very good point, Sister Honey. I've been dealing with it myself. You see, I'm holding on to one of my rocks in my left hand here. I've got my crystals all on my desk, but I've been dealing it with myself. There were some things that I was not dealing with personally, and I got kicked right in the head
Mhm.
spiritually to say, over a month ago, it happened. And it was like, you're going to deal with this stuff because you're not going into 2026 with this continuing to go on. And it really was related to a business relationship. And it's all working out. It's beautiful when you let something go and you trust in the divine, the source with no beginning and no ending that's in you and you're in, and everything's made of it. Things start really unfolding the way they're supposed to unfold. And that's without putting any kind of emotion. So the one thing I've been learning, and I've come into this lifetime pretty much cleared on karma. but definitely optimizing certain things. And one of them that you picked up on me real quick when we got back together in this lifetime, you and my son and me for these missions that we're on, was patience. And it's interesting because since you said that to me, I could have been more than 6 months ago. I think it was more than that. I think it was like in the beginning of the year. Wow, have I been going through the optimization of being more patient and really looking at everything in my life, personal, business wise, just everything, and making sure that it's what I want to do, it's what resonates with me, and it's serving my highest purpose for the reason that I'm here. And one thing that I know, and we just had this conversation before we started this episode. I really am getting into, to really detailing out, who I am and why I'm here, and looking at this next 2 decades as Pluto is in Aquarius, to really make sure by the time I become 80 years young that I've accomplished what I'm here for. And what do you say to people out there that right now maybe they do know why they're here, they don't know why they're here, they really want to find out that reason? Why am I here? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What's your advice for that?
I would say follow your passion. Whatever you're excited about, that's part of why you're here. So, it could be art, it could be dance, it could be helping other people, learn how to do something. It could, whatever it is, it could be tree hugging. It's totally fine. Tree hugging is fabulous, actually, because they're basically like a lightning rod of light. So, just doing whatever you're passionate about. And if you don't know what that is, then I would go explore a little bit,
Yeah,
because that will lead you in the right direction.
absolutely. And you might see me looking over here. I guess if I'm looking over here, I'm looking, I guess I look at Sister Honey when I'm looking at my notes, but I've got some notes. We always want to make sure that we cover everything related to what we're talking about today because it's so important. I mean, this is the year of the snake based on, Chinese astrology. I am actually a wood snake. One thing that's interesting about me too is and when you look at my numerology, my gematria, and all of that, I actually master all 4 elements, which is very rare. And it's interesting, is like I said, I'm getting to know myself at a deeper level, but also I am being more awakened. And that's happening to a lot of people, where a lot of people are waking up to past lives, to why they are here, to their passions, their skill sets, all of that. It's exciting to see all of this happening, especially, we have our free Step into Your Power spiritual community, whatever community, awakening community, ascending community. It's just a community of love and light and support to help everybody with their ascension, with their increasing of their frequency. And again, stepintoyourpower.com, you can join it for free. There's nothing but your time to put your first name, last name, and email, and come in there and get the support that you need. And I feel, you keep on talking over and over again about community and support. Can you tell folks why it's important to have, support during this transition we're going through?
Yeah, for one thing, you won't feel like you're the only one doing it, because we're not, I mean, we are a group of beings, and it is nice to actually hang out with other beings and not just what you see right in front of you. That's really important. It helps with loneliness, because this journey has been very lonely for a lot of people. And there's people in there that you can just talk to. You don't have to censor yourself about things. You can be yourself in there. And another part of it is that we amplify when we come together. So we are actually more powerful when we come together. And that's why people were told to stand a certain length apart. That's why people are encouraged to look at each other with judgment all the time. And that's why we've been divided. So it's a great place to basically, it feels like home. There's a lot of people in there that are probably in your soul tribe.
Yeah. And you just said something. I'm actually getting a little hot here, so I'm going to pop on my air over here a little bit, my fan. I think my grandson Noah turned that off earlier today. He loves to push these buttons. But it's so important what you just said, because we all rise together. And by the way, this is a chair behind me too. I see some comments wondering what this is. This is my beautiful chair behind me. So it shows up, loves to show up. But it's so important that we are gathering together. We are getting together globally,
Mhm.
and then finding people locally. The great thing about the community too is, as we're getting more and more people joining the free community, Step in Your Power, over 7,000 people now, that more and more people fall within other people's local communities, which is beautiful, because not only do you have this huge online family, but now you're building other relationships locally where you can go out to have lunch or dinner or a coffee, get together, do meditation, do prayer, do whatever, join your local Tai Chi class, do meditation, do yoga. I mean, it also is a gateway to build a local network too,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is super
That's so
exciting,
true.
right?
Yeah. When you come together in person, it's such a beautiful thing.
It
And
is.
it feels like home. I remember the first time that happened, and we were in Morocco, and I was doing healings and being there for healing, and they asked, what is my purpose? That was a huge subject that was going on there, but everybody got to be themselves. And that's so important because we have felt suppressed for so long. So it's time to be you.
Yeah, and it's interesting because what is the title of this episode? Embody the New You. So really important. So let's move gently into what embodiment actually means. And so we're going into our first segment about what embodiment really means. And we're going to go over embodiment equals the new identity becoming your default. Old patterns feel foreign, your reactions become responses, and simplicity becomes natural. And that is interesting because all of those things are happening to me right now. And I love simplicity. So, talk about embodiment, Sister Honey, equals the new identity becoming your default, meaning that's who you really are, but you're going through that process, I guess, to reclaim that again.
Yeah. So that's like really following your intuition, not just saying, oh, I'll do it next time, but actually following it. And it's a lot of habit changing. So we have certain habits that maybe we've done for 30 years, maybe more. And maybe they aren't actually in our highest good. So changing those habits. One of my habits has been to pay more attention to my body in general, because our body is our vehicle here on this planet. And we want it to be healthy, because if you're not feeling healthy, then it's really so much harder to do anything. And just changing your habits that will lead to health, not necessarily doing everything all at once, because that's overwhelming, but being willing to lay out a plan for whatever it is you're doing, whether it's your project or your body or the way that you want to step into your life in a different way, and actually starting to match the habits that the person you want to become, that you know is your highest timeline, starting to actually do those habits now. because that's how you'll vibrate up into that timeline.
Yeah, you have to change, your old patterns, and again, mine actually feel foreign, like we have here in the bullet points, where your old patterns that don't serve you actually don't feel good.
Mm-mm.
And one of the things is you do have your soul, your spirit, that's the life force, your physical body, your energy body, but your physical body, your nervous system is really super important to the way that you feel and your energy and all of that too. So that's another thing that I've noticed also. And I was just talking to my beautiful wife, Cindy, today about her and I going to the gym because when I'm here in Austin and I'm not at our house in Las Terrenas, Dominican Republic, where my backyard is one of the most beautiful beaches in the world, literally 300 my steps into the ocean. Amazing portal, energy portal, just I can't even explain how beautiful. And I've got videos and stuff in the community. But when I'm here, it's cold, and then I don't want to walk outside. And so one of the things that are just one of the most enjoyable things that I do down there is walking and then coming back and walking on the beach and then going swimming
Mm-hmm.
in that particular part and that energy. So Cindy and I were talking today, well, we at least got to get to the gym a couple times a week. And then I was even looking for maybe Tai Chi classes that I could go to with her to make sure that when I'm not there and I am here with my children and grandson, that I'm not lacking in that. I think that's something that we all have to look at is again doing a column exercise, getting a piece of paper, drawing a line down it, and in each area of the life, just putting the title at the top and what is serving you and what is not serving you, and continuously working on what's not serving you. Not taking it personal, not getting upset about it, not getting emotionally embedded into it, just removing it. And if it comes back, then removing it again. And then it comes back or removing it again. I've noticed when I take charge of my mind and I shut these thoughts down that don't serve my highest purpose, they come in much less.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with anything. When you start taking more control over it, it happens a lot less. And you start doing the things that serve you and the things that are not serving you start to fall away.
Mm-hmm. It's just so important. And giving yourself some time to reflect on that, like what really would be in my best interests, those habits and creating them one at a time, it's so beautiful. Like when you start to shift out of something old, and it takes a couple of weeks usually. When you start to shift out of something that is not in your highest good anymore, let's say that it's like 2 teaspoons of sugar in your coffee in the morning, and you find out how detrimental sugar is to the body. And you're like, well, what am I going to do about that? And then just finding something else to put in there that is not as hard on you, that is good, and that is not going to affect your insulin level when you first get up in the morning. It could be something that simple, you know, exchanging sugar for monk fruit. It could
Yep.
be that easy. Or it could be something really big. It could be creating a new exercise program. And maybe you haven't exercised for eons, and you decide, well, I'm going to start with 5 minutes a day and I'm going to do this exercise that's supposed to be good for me. And I'm going to try it. And you are honest with yourself and you try it and you do it every day for at least a week. And then maybe it isn't your favorite. Maybe you want to try something else. But at least doing things that take you forward versus staying in the same loop. That's really important right now.
Yeah, it is very important. And I have something written down here. Embodiment isn't an idea, it's frequency lived. It's the moment when the new version of you becomes automatic. And how do you become automatic? Well, you do these things like we just talked about what Sister Honey's talking about and what I said about what I do with my mind. And also, it's interesting here. there's when I'm in Dominican Republic and with my wife, it's all monk food. It's monk food, monk food, monk food. It's eating healthy. It's all of that. When I get home to Austin, it slips. Now I'm working on that, and now the holidays are coming, so you're looking at all kinds of stuff that's happening, cookies and all kinds of stuff that's happening, right? And
Yeah.
these things are, some people, it's just like it's interesting because I tell my daughter and my wife, you know, and I'm not a crackhead, but I always like to crack jokes. So I said, well, cookies in this house, chocolate chip cookies and pies and stuff, to me is like a crackhead with crack. You know what I mean? They're going to smoke it. And so when you see chocolate chip cookies and all, the best thing to do, and why I'm saying this is the best thing to do, don't even have it in your environment. But when I'm in Dominican Republic and I'm in where it's just Cindy and I most of the time, we have more control of our environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, will we get ice cream once in a while from the Italian place? Yes. Will I get pizza once in a while? Yes. But what I notice is my health just continues to get better and better and better when I'm down there because it is becoming just second nature to me
Mm-hmm.
just to do it. Right. And I think that's really important that these things first identifying what they are. Like you said, it could be that you're putting 2 teaspoons or tablespoons. If people are using a big spoon, it ain't a teaspoon. It's
Right.
more of a tablespoon of sugar in your coffee every morning. And we all know what refined sugar does to you, the white sugar. Now, the cane sugar that's not refined, that's organic, is a lot less harmful to you. Monk fruit's even better. A little bit of honey's even better. But being aware of what are you putting in your mouth? What are you putting on your skin? What are
Yeah.
you listening to? What are you seeing? I think all of these things are so important to increase your frequency. Which when you put something up today, I guess it was from TikTok or something, where it was all about your reality is all based on the frequencies you're tuned into.
Yeah.
Right. So having the
It's
best ones
amazing.
is important.
Mm-hmm. Our reality is our making. So, really paying attention to that. And even if you're seeing something that you would normally call negative, take away the judgment there and just say, well, why am I seeing that right now? Do I need to know that the world is progressing on the outside? Do I need to know that that person isn't really somebody that I should spend maybe as much time with as I am because I'm seeing something negative? What am I learning from that? Instead of saying, oh my God, it's so negative, and absorbing that, just take the judgment away and see what it's there for.
Yeah, it's really important not to be judging yourself all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Really super important. Um, I really did that a lot in the past, where I was the hardest person on myself and I didn't give myself a break. And you really have to love yourself and give yourself a break and just, go with the flow and understand the most important thing is building that connection to the divine. And as you build that connection and you're more connected to your, what Sister Honey calls the oversoul, which is pretty powerful. And again, we're going to be doing more teaching about that in Ascension Mastery. A lot of folks that are just starting out, that's just too much for them in the beginning, for sure. But it's important that you are doing everything that you can to increase your frequency because this Friday is 12/12 coming
Mm-hmm.
up. We have a portal and we're going from the year of the snake into the year of the fire horse. You want to talk about that a little bit as we move through into the next segment?
Yeah, so the year of the snake is all about shedding old stuff away and allowing for things that don't serve you. I mean, the snake is always shedding its skin. It's the symbol of knowledge as well. So it's a knowledgeable item or a knowledgeable being that is willing to let go of things that don't work anymore, right? And that's what we needed in this year. Now, next year, it's all about momentum, and it's all about being a sovereign self, because the fire horse is not putting up with any nonsense. They are not going, like, those children that come in that are born under that year, they're very intense and very sovereign. So we will become very intense and very sovereign as humans during that year. And that's what it's about, is to open up that sovereignty. So
Yeah,
it's going to be a really awesome year.
it is. And I have these things I want to read before we get into the next segment here. Is identity, then I have an arrow behavior and an arrow embodiment. Decisions become simplified or simpler, and alignment replaces overthinking. So identity, your behavior, and embodiment, moving into the new, into who you always been. But we're talking about, embodying the new you, because most people have no clue to who they are
Mm-hmm.
and what their purpose is. And that's something that's really important, that you really meditate and pray about who you are, what's your identity, and go back and watch episode 21 where we get into that. We talk about that. And then, your behavior, the things going on in your life, really, really laying that out in column exercises to really detail out the different parts of your life and what do you love doing? What are you passionate about? I mean, what I'm doing right now with Step Into Your Power, what we're doing with quantum energy wellness, all the people that are being helped, I love it, right? If I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it. And I'm not going to do anything that I don't love. And the guy actually that we purchased the place off in DR, his name's Cash with a K. He had a shirt on that says, "Love where you live." And I mean, I think that means to be for everything in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You got to love it all, because if you don't love it, why are you doing it? Um, so we're going to move into the next one. So let's move into the signs you're already embodying the new you, signs you're already moving into embodiment. So let's talk about these bullet points and then we'll dig in. So increased clarity in daily choices. Well, that's important. Reduced emotional reactivity. Super important. Natural boundaries forming. Yeah. Intuition becoming primary and feeling more like yourself than ever. I think,
Yeah,
yeah, I think that says it, right? I mean, we're
that
all
really
working
says
on
it.
it.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about, you have to be clear in the choices that you're making, because the choices that you're making are creating your reality. The good thing about that is you can change it. So if your reality isn't what you want it to be, the choices that you're making are creating it. It's creating your frequency. So going through all of that is so beautiful. I mean, to go through that process and set boundaries. Talk about how important it is to be. We had an episode about sovereignty. We actually talked about that also in Ascension Mastery. It's so important to set boundaries and, really to um, not overreact to things that trigger you, because there's a lot of triggering going on right now. Just
There
wondering.
is a lot. There's so much triggering going on. So if you're feeling triggered, then ask why. Ask, is it something I need to heal? And also ask, has someone stepped over what I have started to create as a boundary? So, really, you want to think about self love first and create the boundaries around that. So, if someone's not respecting you, if someone is saying, well, you need to do it my way, I don't care what you think, or, whatever those things are, or if someone is affecting your physical person, or pulling energy away from you. Maybe you have an energy vampire around you. Those kind of things are really important to now start to really set the boundaries. And they can be energetic boundaries, but when somebody crosses them, your body's going to tell you that doesn't feel good. I'm not okay with that. And being willing to actually say, actually, I don't do that anymore. I don't overextend myself to the point where it hurts me to help someone else. So if I got paid $100 today and I gave you all my money, then what would I eat today? That kind of thing, you know? Really being aware of you need to take care of yourself first and have self respect for you because you really matter, and then start to build your boundaries around that.
Yeah, it's so important. And that's one of the things myself personally I'm going through is look, I'm not allowing that in my life.
Mhm.
I'm not allowing it. And if you want to do that, if somebody wants to do that, they can do that without me in the equation. It's pretty simple. Remove brother Jimmie from the equation because he isn't going to be involved in it because I want to do everything that increases my frequency, increases my vibration, that continues to bring the beautiful life that I have and the mission that I'm on and with Sister Honey and my son and other brothers and sisters that are part of Step Into Your Power. It's just I'm not going to tolerate it, not from business partners, not from family members, not from anyone. And you've got to have that kind of commitment to it, where no matter who it is, you're not going to allow them to do that. You're not going to have energy vampires around you sucking your energy out. You're not going to have people around you talking negativity. And when you look at two people next to each other, and this was why they had the 6 foot rule too. But when you look at two people next to each other, your energies are interlocking. I
Yeah.
mean, it's happening. So if you're next to somebody who's really negative and their energy's not good, um, you might want to remove yourself from that equation and make sure that your environment. I mean, my grandson comes in here. He learned how to open the door. I had to take my wife's what she calls when she puts her hair up, one of these ties around the door on the office because he now knows how to open the door. He comes right in here, thinks grandpa's a freaking mountain. He's going to start jumping up and down on me, running around, pulling my books out. But also in my office, I have about 20 different types of rocks and crystals. I have my salt lamp. I have my body line stuff, my EMF stuff.
Mhm.
I have stuff that makes my environment. I have negative ion plug in my thing. I have an air purifier in the back. So this is a very comfortable place,
Mhm.
a very positive place to do my work, which I love to do that doesn't even seem like work. I would not accept anything else, personally myself. And I don't think anyone watching this live or watching the recording should accept anything else. What's your thoughts, Sister Heather, on that?
Yeah. Well, and Noah loves it because he gets to go and be in all the good energy. He's having a blast in there. But I think all of us need to be really aware of our own energy, how important it is, and not allowing things to encroach upon it, but instead being with people that amplify it. So that's what you can find in the community at Step Into Your Power because it's about amplification versus somebody draining. And I think that's going to be really important. Now, you can cut the cord with people, like I've done that. I've also put my hand up and said, I'm on a negativity fast. I don't listen to negativity anymore. So if you want to gossip and be cranky, then take it somewhere else. And I've done that with people even in the car. It's important to not allow that into your field because it actually only takes a little while for your brain to start to reprogram towards more negative. And that has to do with creativity. Like we are creating our reality. So you want to create it in the best way possible for yourself. That's important.
Yeah, it was an incident for one of these business partners, and something happened, and the whole weekend, I was fighting with my mind to stop thinking about it.
Mhm.
And, after that weekend, I said, I'm not going to think about this stuff. I'm just not dealing with this person ever again. And you know what? If my attorney needs to deal with them, then they'll deal with them. But I'm not dealing with them ever again because I'm not going to be having my whole weekend where I got to keep telling my mind that thought doesn't serve your highest purpose. Dissolve in pure energy and move on. So, yeah, you do that. You want to direct your mind, you want to command your mind, but you don't want to continue. You want to remove whatever is causing that effect on you too out of your life. Because one of the things I have up here too, we talked about one of the bullet points is intuition becoming primary. I mean, usually your gut instinct is right, and most people second guess it. I
Mhm.
did it a lot when I was younger. I learned to listen to it. After you spend a few $1 million over a couple decades learning from the school of hard knocks, you actually learn how to listen more to your intuition. Um, Again, the heart and the mind work together. It's better if they're in coherency than out of coherency, because it really happens when really, it's powerful when you got the two of them together. Why is it so important for your heart and your mind to have that coherency, sister?
Well, because your mind is the receiver from the field, and your heart is where you need to make the decisions from. And that's actually where your soul sits, is right there in the solar plexus. So that's where your little heart fire is, that's your spark. And your gut is has a lot of brain matter as well. So all of those things combined, you actually have three brains, not one. And this one is to receive from the field. That's why you have all these chakras that are outside your body. That's your antenna. So you're bringing in information. It's not there to actually make the decisions.
It's interesting that you said that, because as I'm working on our business plans for the next 2 decades, which is interesting, really detailing out
Mhm.
2026, it was talking about, I was setting the process of us vetting out decisions to make sure they're energetically and righteously aligned with the missions that we're involved in. And it isn't any one person. It was my son and you and me, it would run through all three of us. But it almost is exactly what you're talking about with the mind and the heart and the gut.
Mhm.
It's almost like you don't make the decision from the mind, because the mind is really not a great master, that's for sure.
No.
And like you said, it's receiving, not only is it receiving from what you're downloading for you, but it's receiving all kinds of stuff from the grid, the
Mhm.
matrix, whatever you want to call it. And some people that are empaths, it's receiving everybody else's stuff. So there's just a lot of noise going on. And that's why you have to use your heart and you have to use your gut in order to really, really, home in on that intuition to make that right decision. But also, it's part of how much time every day are you spending in meditation. When I say prayer, it's not about religion, it's about relationship. Okay. It's about having a conversation with the entity. The Indians called it the Great Spirit. It's called many different names, but again, no beginning, no ending. Everything's in. It's in everything. Nothing is in existence outside of it. That's what I'm talking about when I say Heavenly Father or Divine Creator. That's what I'm talking about. Building that relationship, because when this entity sees that you actually are putting in the effort to build a real relationship, wow, your intuition becomes on fire. the downloads become very freaking accurate, and your life starts to transform like you've never seen in your life before. So we talked a few times, Sister Honey, about 2020. And as I've been going through my son, my son is the numerology gematria
Oh,
guy,
he's
and
so
I
good at
mean,
it.
it's
Yeah.
just amazing what he does. And my son Tommy Truthful is what we call him. But he did my gematria stuff for my birthday. Really dug deep in my 60-year young birthday, and really, I always knew numbers to see 1111, 333, 555, not just on the clock, 444, all of these numbers. I actually built a article in Step in Your Power under guided updates under the welcome. If you go on the desktop, you can find that article, because the divine is speaking to you. Are you listening? And if you're not building a relationship, you might not understand how to listen. And, and working that three brain system, where it is your brain, your heart, and your gut, and building that relationship will help you optimize your life into more of alignment with why you're here and what you're doing here. I know that I've been here many times, and I am on a massive mission. I'm part of it. So is Sister Honey. So is my son. So is a lot of folks. A lot of you watching.
Mhm.
A lot of folks that are in the Step into Your Power. There's a lot of even people that are involved in spirituality. There's a lot happening. These next 20 years are significant. I mean, more significant than probably any time on planet Earth. What's your thoughts about that, Sister Honey?
Yeah, it is because Earth fell and into third density and now is in fifth density, and we're letting go of all of our programs from the third density. So as 3D, all the little systems and all the things change, we're going to feel like different people, and we're going to have to figure out what it is that we want to do with the world. And that is why you need all of your systems, your intuition, and these three brains working, because you want to be able to interpret things properly for yourself. So the gut really tells you, is this going to be good for me or not? And if you don't follow it, you almost always end up in a pickle. Like, I mean, I always end up in a pickle if I don't listen to my gut. And I've gotten out of the habit completely of contradicting my gut. I just don't do it. I'm like, oh, well, it doesn't feel right, so I'm not going to do it. But in the past, I definitely have, and it's gotten me into all kinds of situations that I didn't appreciate. So, being aware of that and really leading with your heart is going to make the ultimate decision, but it's going to make it out of love and not out of fear. And that's really important. So, your heart is your ultimate decision maker. And if you think about it, I mean, the two other brains are on the other side. So,
It's in the center
yeah, it's in the center.
where the soul sits.
Hmm.
So now I'm looking over here or over here. So it's interesting how these cameras are. It's like reverse when you're looking at it, because I moved it over so I was looking straight. So if you see me looking like this, I am actually looking at our notes, because I want to make sure again that we cover everything here. It's important. Um, but when you do get into that alignment, you do feel more like yourself. Your intuition is spot on. It's you're reduce your emotional reactivity. I mean, I could get triggered pretty easily, when I was younger. And as I've been growing younger, and getting closer to the divine, that happens less and less and less. And you know what? That only hurts you, really. The person that is triggering you really doesn't give a crap. They don't really care. It just really affects you. It's when you're holding on to something too. Like if something happened in your life, your father or mother beat you, or somebody betrayed you or whatever, You got to learn to let that stuff go because that stuff doesn't serve you and it doesn't serve your highest purpose. And if you continue to hang on to it, you're never going to reach the level that you're supposed to reach. So it just holds you back. So let it go. Let it go. Let that stuff go. And I know it's hard for a lot of people to do it. I was raised in a very, very strict and not kid-friendly household to be in any way, shape, or form. But at the end of the day, my father, before he passed away at 54 years old, we were best friends. Some people that the beatings that I got when I was growing up from both my mother and father, God rest their souls, and that's kind of what it was in most cases for people that are, Generation X, right? They had that same experience, maybe worse than mine, maybe not as bad as mine. But at the end of the day, if I held on to that, who's it hurting? It's hurting me. It's hurting me. And you don't know what that person went on. That's why they talk about epigenetics. Things go from generation to generation to generation. Epigenetics is pretty much that imprinting of the behavioral stuff, like somebody who abuses, their children or whatever, and that gets passed on from generation to generation to generation. But you got to let it go because most of that stuff gets passed on because people don't let it go. They hold on to it, and it doesn't serve your purpose at all. So, let me read a couple of these bullet points. More conscious choices. We talked about that. Less emotional charge and natural confidence rising. So that's what you want. I'm very confident about my decisions. I don't second guess myself because I've learned to listen to my intuition because my divine connection is strong. And Sister Honey, she's getting download that spot on. And it's not because that happened overnight. It's because we work on it, right?
Yeah.
Anything to say about that, Sister Honey, before we move into the next segment?
Well, I would say if you're really looking to make your intuition more and more clear, then really think about the things that you're hanging on to that are not good for you because they're actually blocks. So they will block your intuition if you're hanging on to things that are not in your highest good. So just try to be objective about your life and look at it from the outside looking in and say, oh, okay, well, I can see where this doesn't work. Maybe I'm going to quit doing that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And again, your intuition becoming your primary decision maker and not, again, it's interesting when I was talking about the heart, making decisions from the heart, somebody left a comment, said, oh, you don't make decisions by the heart, you got to make them by the mind. And I'm thinking, love you, but no. If
No.
you make all your decisions by your mind only, usually doesn't work out too well. If you're not using your gut instinct and your heart that's connected to your soul and really, really making those decisions based on that soul that knows your destiny, that knows your mission, that knows what you're here, and by the way, knows all the other lifetimes you've been around on this planet, and I'm sure others in other dimensions, that there is no matter, right? It's all energy and all that. And so start working on getting that function down the right way and not making decisions excuse me, only from your mind. We're both sitting here coughing,
We're
Sister Honey.
both coughing. Yeah.
Let me
The
grab a little
heater's getting
water.
too hot now. I'm starting to get all dried out. So, yeah, everything is so in tune with your intuition, and your intuition is your soul. So, think about your soul and how many fractals you have of your soul and how big your oversoul is because it's the sum of all your lifetimes. And that being knows no time, they can see everything. So they see all of the multiverse, they see all of the decisions, and they lead you in the right direction for your highest good. So that's really important. And your ego has to be out of the way to really get that intuitive hit. Because if the ego is engaged, then that is trauma and a lens that you don't really want to see your life through because it actually just keeps you stuck. So, working with the ego and making sure that it's not participating in your decisions is very important.
Oh yeah, it destroys things. I've been involved in businesses where we were doing millions of dollars a month, and I've had to leave them because of the egos of the ownership and the top executives. I mean, I just had to go because I just wasn't going to be in that type of environment where people were stabbing each other's in the back because this one's bigger than this one. Blah, blah, blah. You know, no one's better than anyone else. Everyone is part of the divine. So you're all part of the divine. So no one's better than anyone else. And the only reason people go through what they're going through is to learn something, right? Everything's about a lesson here. This is like a learning reality or simulation or holographic. You know, Citronics talks about holographic. My son talks about the matrix. I mean, whatever it is, we are definitely here to learn, and we're definitely here to increase our frequency and become who we were meant to be, who we were created to be. These are experiences that we're having them. And it's interesting. One of the things I've studied the Gnostics, and they talk about creation. And if you look at, and I've read a lot of the different religious texts from different religions, you know, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, Islam, a lot of different books, and then the Essenes and Gnostics. But it's interesting because if you really truly knew how everything was created and what the truth is, most, and again, I'm not an anti-religious person. If somebody is getting good stuff out of religion and you're helping yourself and you're helping others, beautiful, beautiful. But you don't need anybody or anything to tell you anything. You got direct connect to the divine, and you can move through this life and other lifetimes with that connection and not getting involved in something where people want to control you. Because a lot of these things are about control and division, fighting everybody, getting everybody to fight and keep that division going and that conflict going. And all of that's ending, you know, all of that over the next 20 years. And I know some people are going to be, oh, Brother Jimmie, 20 years. Thought it was going to be tomorrow. No, we're not pulling up to McDonald's and ordering a Happy Meal. It's going to take time because you can't change things like that quick with the amount of people that are on this planet that will be here in this reality, this whatever, you can't change it. So I know very clearly, like know my name in this lifetime, that it's going to take 20 years to get to a point that I'm going to feel myself personally comfortable leaving this world to my children and grandchildren. And Sister Honey even says it's going to be a Star Trek type of deal after
Right.
that point. After I seen Optimus running, Optimus 3 running on YouTube, you might be spot on there, Sister Honey.
Yeah, I actually talked to Earth today. And so
Wow.
Earth is a being. And she showed me because the sky isn't really the color that we see. There's so many things that are going to shift as we keep progressing. And the buildings that we will live in, I mean, it's just like pure magic that we will see. So when you think about, oh my gosh, 20 years, how will I survive that? Start thinking about there's a whole lot of things that are going to be happening just in the next few months, in the next year, and in the year after that will shift the way that humanity works and the way that we do things. But we have to have time to recreate everything,
Oh, yeah.
So none of that is going to happen just like this. We have to vibrate into the right reality. So we went and saw a UFO tour when we were in Sedona. So a couple of friends and myself. And the lady, it was amazing, who gave the tour. And you basically had night seeing glasses and you could see all the UFOs going all over the place. But what she said was that the ETs had created like an overlay. So a whole new way of living, a whole beautiful crystal city. And then it would just come and sit on top of what was already there. And I was like, I don't think that's how it's going to work. You're going to vibrate up into that reality.
Right.
So, part of vibrating up into that reality is what's in between. It's the habits, it's the new kinds of buildings that might be in between those kind of, the regular buildings that we see that are in Sedona, they're like adobe, and the crystal cities. So, everything is a step up. And sometimes we jump multiple steps at a time. We've done that a lot over the last month. But these things are really changing. And we can't even imagine what it's going to really look like in
No,
the
it's going to
future.
be it's going to be wonderful. And it's the same thing that when Yahusha was here, he could vibrate into the third D, fourth D, fifth D. I mean, a lot of us are moving in and out of these dimensions. It's interesting. We really are. And all of these things exist already. You're just not in alignment with the frequency. And all of this stuff has to unfold in divine timing. And we have to be in the frequency to accept it. So working on yourself and becoming the best you and loving yourself and working on yourself to become, that higher frequency is so important. We're going to talk about that now in segment 3, supporting your new identity. And so some of these things we talk about many times. We're going to continue to talk about it. We'll talk about it until we're blue in the face, because that's what you got to do. You got to repeat yourself over and over again until people actually listen. Not all of you, but some of you. It takes repetition, and including myself. I've learned from repetition. But let's go over these bullet points here. How we support the new identity in the body and in our daily life. That's important because this needs to be part of our daily life. So, breath work,
Mhm.
anchoring practices, energy conscious boundaries, soul aligned decision making. We've covered some of this stuff already. Sister Honey and I, we don't stay right on direct course, but hey, as long as by the time we're done, we covered everything in it, we're good, you know? And then the other stuff. But at the end of the day, breath work. I mean, most people are suffocating.
Yeah.
Talk about how important breath work is.
Well, to breathe, what you're doing is you're bringing oxygen into your bloodstream, which then oxygenates everything else in your body. It's really important. And we used to have more oxygen. So humanity was created when there was 35% oxygen, and that dwindled down. I don't know what it is right now, but it's really dwindled down. And now it's starting to expand again a little bit. So breathe in the fresh air. It's time for that because we're going to have more and more and more oxygen. And the body is going to be in better and better shape because of it. So that's one factor. Another thing that it does is really helps with the nervous system. So whenever you feel yourself going into trigger mode, take a breath, reset your nervous system right then as fast as you can. Take a really deep breath and re engage your brain and your mind and your heart and know that you don't have to react like that. So that's what I would say the breath is so important for, is those two things for me.
And, making it part of your life, conscious breathing. Like in the morning, even when I do, like I'll spend 15 minutes. and I'll go through a crystal thing that I'm using my crystals. I got one in my hand here too. And I'll go through that process. Then I'll go through my prayers. But as I'm going through that process, I'm breathing. I'm breathing 4 in, I'm holding it for 4, I'm breathing 6 out, I'm holding it for 4, I'm breathing in through my nose, pumping my stomach up, just like you would pump a fireplace with one of those devices there. And I'm holding it, and then I'm doing that. And then when I do my prayers, I do the same thing. And then I get into Tai Chi Gong, where I'm actually doing my tapping and opening my energy centers, doing the blessings of all my physical body, my energy body, and I'm breathing through that whole process. And so I'll spend in the morning, as I'm doing these things that take me about 90 minutes to do, consciously breathing. And
Mhm.
that's why my doctor tells me I have a heart of a teenager and a prostate of a teenager, and my organs are like perfect and all of that. Because why? Because I have more oxygen in my bloodstream that's getting to my organs that are keeping these things healthy. Because if you're starving your organs and your brain and all your organs from oxygen, they're getting starved from oxygen, it's not a good effect. It
Mhm.
doesn't help you. But if you just change that, I remember when I started Tai Chi Gong first, Sister Honey, I for the first 4 months, all I did was breathe. All I did was breathe before I did any of these exercises, opening up and the up and the down and the in and the out and the Tai Chi swim and all the things that I do every day now. But for the first, and I've been doing it for close to 5 years now. Those things, the Tai Chi Gong, I was breathing. I was breathing. And just by me consciously breathing, I've seen a significant change. So that's
Mhm.
how important it is. And then, anchoring practices, that's what we're talking about right now. You've got to do things that you're doing at least 5, 6 days a week. You don't have to be hard on yourself if you miss it, but you definitely want to get this into a steady process of your week to where you're doing these things for yourself, because this is really important. And then energy, conscious boundaries, we talked about that. Can't let all these negative people in your life. And by the way, you can't be putting in all this negative frequency in your environment from your TV, from the internet, from your cell phone, from, everywhere. You got to put protection. Like I've got some of these stones here, the Sugarite. That helps take out all
Mhm.
the EMF stuff, right? That
Yeah.
helps with that. I got another one here that helps with that too. Then I got my band on that helps with that. And then I got my disc on my cell phone that helps with that.
Yeah.
So I'm protecting myself from all of this EMF radiation that's affecting me, my energetical body and my physical body. So you have to be aware of these things, like a salt bath or a salt getting, organic body wash that has sea salt in it. One of the things we do have again, Sister Honey, in stepinyourpower.com, the community is under the practice portal, under the power portal. We have the energy clearing techniques that go through all of these different things that you can do to do energy hygiene. It's so important. And then the other bullet point I think we talked about too, that's what I'm saying. Even though we have these segments, we kind of talk about some of the stuff in previous segments. Is soul aligned decision making?
Yeah.
What did Sister go? You want to go through that again, and then we really can move to the next segment because we've covered most of this stuff in this segment.
Just really being aligned with your soul is going to show you your purpose. It's going to make your life happier. And it may be hard when you first break through something or you first let go of someone. But when you do, you're making room for your life to get better. And it's really important to do that right now. So, yeah, I mean, that's what I have to say about it. It's the most important thing you can do is follow your intuition.
Yeah. And another thing that we were talking about a few episodes back is when you put, you got your feminine and you got your masculine. Again, I'm looking at myself so it looks backwards to me, but this is my left hand and this is my right hand. And when you put your left hand over your heart and your right hand over your left hand, and you quiet your mind and you do that breathing, the four, and you're pumping your stomach and you're doing the 4 in, holding for 4, 6 out, holding for 4, and you do that for 5 minutes, clearing your mind, not letting any thought. You're creating what's called heart coherence. And it's so important because guess what? Your heart is the most powerful organ in your body. It's blasting out a magnetic field that is incredible. It's like 5,000 times more powerful than anything else.
Mhm.
So it's really important that you focus on that breathing where you're really, when you're breathing, you're focusing on your heart. You're feeling the breath within your heart. Even though you're pumping your stomach, you're feeling the breath come up behind your heart. That really helps you a lot. Again, listening to intuitive signals, reducing overstimulation, staying connected to the heart space. This is one of the ways to stay connected to the heart space. Another thing is, we do these episodes every week. Tune in. Look at the comments in the previous episodes. Go look in the community at what people are saying, what it's doing, how it's helping. Share them with other people because another thing that people forget to do is love on other people.
Yeah.
Share good information for other people. Get more in that positive energy bank for yourself. Fill that baby up to where it overflows. And once it overflows, wow, things really change. Things really accelerate. Okay. I mean, you got to love on other people, got to love on yourself. Again, first, the divine is the most important, the relationship and the love there, and then loving yourself. So many people, I hear them condemning themselves with their words.
Yeah.
They're like putting spells on themselves with their words. My son gets into the whole spelling and language thing. It's incredible, the spelling, spells, television, all of this stuff. But you got to love yourself and you got to really respect yourself and you got to give thanks and gratitude to yourself. So important.
So important. And your heart is actually a vortex. So remembering that, like, it's so powerful. And they hid that for a long time. But if you ever see a heart that is actually opened up, like they unroll, they're a vortex and they're bringing in so much energy for you. And just think about that organ, like it never rests. It's just
Never rest.
constantly, yeah, taking care of you.
Never rest. It's pumping all the time. If it stopped,
Yeah.
you're done. If you don't breathe, you're done. At least you're not ever done because you're eternal. Your soul's eternal. But this body that you're incarnated in this situation is done if you can't breathe and if your heart doesn't pump. So morning anchoring, clearing digital noise, and nervous system tending. So again, the community really helps with that. The free community really helps with that. We have the tools in there. We have healing frequency music. We have guided meditations. We have affirmations. Speak positivity into your life. I mean,
Mhm.
I go through my whole routine and I speak. By the way, I use the community. I go into the practice portal and I go through the morning up to the evening. I got my morning prayers. I got my affirmations. I got my evening prayers. I got my evening affirmations. I do this every single day. Why do I do it? Because it's freaking important to do. Because I'm putting out all of this good stuff. Because what happens? I get it back. It comes to me. So important that you do that. So now let's look at the why December plays such a big role, and we're going to really get into Sister Honey's uh, feeling and connection on this because it does play a massive role. In 2026 is the first year of the next 9-year cycle, and I again am into my leadership legacy, time period as a 60-year young individual here because 60 years is nothing. I'm like a baby. in this
Mhm.
lifetime, but let's talk about that. December equals stabilization month. New identity locks in. We've been talking about that. Clarity rises and preparation for the 12, 12, 12, 12, and the solstice, the winter
Yeah.
solstice come rolling in. So whichever one of those you want to talk about first, Sister Honey, go ahead.
Well, I'd like to just talk about December in general. So, December is a huge celebration month for most people. And I think this December for a lot of people will be no exception to that, but it's in a much larger scale. So, a lot of the things that we've really been focused on will start to flip the switch in December. And that doesn't mean everything's done, in the 3D tower moment, but we're in that tower moment right now. And the next couple of months after December will also be big, but December is a big decision month. It's, am I willing to become a new me, a me without all the restrictions, a me without all of those peels, the onion, all of the stuff that I've been carrying around, the backpack of yuck, right? Are you willing to let it go? Because in December, we're going to go through that portal and we're not going to take the backpack with us. So, people who hang on to the backpack, they're really going to struggle in December. So start thinking about that for yourself. There's a lot of people that are in their dark night of the soul. There's a lot of people that have been extraordinarily triggered. There's a lot of people that have actually left too. So they don't have a body here anymore because it was too much. They weren't willing to let go of the programming. So, really taking your time and thinking about the things that do not work or that are very attached to the 3D and starting to let them go over these next few days and throughout December is very big because we're going to become our sovereign self as we go through this process. And December is an enormous point for that. So that's why I
Yeah.
think December's so big.
Yeah, it's interesting because you got this 12, 12 portal, you got the solstice, but 12, 12 comes every year. The solstice comes every year, but we're in a ninth year of endings. We're in, really our new identity locks in. It's more of, like you said, a stabilization month, kind of, for the next year.
Yeah.
2026 is very, very important. It's a foundational year of the new you. And it's really been the old you. But if we said the title, Become the Old You, that would not be so good because people would think that the opposite thing of what it actually means. And
Yeah.
what it means is you're becoming who you've always been. And that's so exciting. So we got a slower December, energy landing in the body settling, nervous system stabilizing, inner clarity rising. So focus on that stuff. And anytime you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious or anything like that, breathe. Put your hands, like I showed you, on your heart and breathe within to your heart through your stomach, like pop your stomach. Just breathe, meditate, go into the practice portal, under the power portal in the community. Listen to that healing frequency music. Every single thing about each frequency is there, so you can know and pick out exactly what you want. Make sure that you're protecting yourself against all this EMF radiation. Do you have a grounding mat? Are you grounding on Mother Earth? Are you going and hugging a tree? Are you being out in nature? Start making sure that you're doing these things to help you really ground yourself. It's interesting, as I'm putting my document together, it was talking about how important breathing is for me, how important grounding is for me, how important energy is for me, or the ocean, water is for me, because
Yeah.
water is a very important part of me. I love being in the ocean, but just make sure that you're doing the things that help you and take care of yourself, and make sure that you're putting your column exercises together, putting your blueprint together. What does this look like? What does your perfect life for your destiny look like? Really define that out and look at your column exercises and see what's getting in the way of that, and remove it. Remove it. Because a lot of this stuff, it's better to remove it, because it's going to be removed one way or another, because the frequency is not going to allow it. So it either can be a removal that you are behind and are involved in doing, or it'll be another kind of removal that won't be so pleasant.
Yeah. Yeah. And those are painful usually. And it's usually someone coming at you and basically making you the bad guy because they're not willing to match your energy.
Right.
So it's like a split, and it does open up so much more for you, but it doesn't feel good while it's happening. So being aware of that. So are we ready to get grounded and to go into
Yeah, and we got one more segment we're going to
one more
go
thing?
over, and
Okay.
just, yeah, and check and make sure we didn't miss anything. But again, and then we're ready to go into you grounding everybody there. And this one is, but let's just say that, we know what people are feeling emotionally right now. And it's all about stepping into living a new you. And we talked about, natural aligned choices. We talked about embodied communication, soul led decisions, feeling like yourself in a new way. So we've covered most of that stuff, already in these previous segments. Living as the new you means your life is built from alignment, not force. Don't force anything. If it doesn't flow easily and feel natural, it's not meant to be. I know that from firsthand experience. Every time I forced anything in my life, it's always went the wrong way. Talk about that a little bit, Sister Anne.
Yeah, so let's say that you're a child and you're being told that you have to hug this one person. And maybe this one person smells really bad. Maybe you feel like they're actually angry with you, but as a child, you can feel their energy and you're like, I don't want to hug them. So, protocol in the 3D would be you're going to make that kid hug that Auntie M or Auntie whoever, or maybe Uncle Tom or Uncle Jeff, whoever it is, you're going to make them hug them because otherwise it won't be normal. And that person may feel bad if your child doesn't hug them. In the 5D, you're going to say, well, doesn't look like they want to do that hug. So we're just going to let them go play. And that's the kind of attitude you want to have with yourself. You are that child. So allow the inner child of you to behave the way that you want to. Don't force yourself to do something because others want you to, because it'll make them feel better, but it'll make you feel worse. And maybe you're going to smell bad when you pull away from that hug, right? Maybe they were smoking a cigarette and you don't like it, or, whatever it is. Maybe they're wearing, which I don't really like patchouli. So maybe they were wearing a lot of patchouli, right? And you knew that you were going to get it on you. And I've had that happen, like people hugging me and wearing patchouli. And then I was all of a sudden, my nose is all crazy and I didn't feel good after that. So if I had chosen not to hug them, then my body wouldn't have reacted that way. So knowing what is in your highest good and just saying, well, I just can't do that right now. I'm sorry. Can't do it.
It's important. It's important. So how does life begin to feel when someone reaches this stage of living as the new you? Well, ease replaces effort. Things come easily and flow
Mm-hmm.
smoothly, not perfectly, but much easier. Intuition becomes natural. So again, you're thinking in the right process. You're building your relationship with the divine, and your intuition becomes strong. My wife's intuition and my intuition and yours, Sister Honey, even my son Tommy's is getting stronger and strong. Man, a lot of people's intuition are getting stronger and stronger
Mm-hmm.
if you're working on it. But that's part of this frequency increasing, that your intuition is going to be coming to you even quicker and faster. Tune into it. Internal guidance becomes louder. So your internal guidance, that path that you're on, even though it's spiral, we know how that works. Just course correct. I've taught my son Tommy and told him, if you don't think something is in alignment with what your purpose is, ask. I
Yeah.
mean, just ask. Just like you would be talking to me or Sister Honey, just ask the divine.
Mm-hmm.
Ask. Most people don't ask. So we're going to get into one again. I want to say before we get into Sister Honey doing our activation grounding here, step into your power, free community. Come and join us. It will help you. I promise you. If you engage, if you come in, you do nothing, it won't help you. But if you come in and you engage, it will help you. Another thing that we're building out right now is called Quantum Energy Wellness. Actually, the domain name, as you can see, and we're going to have a lot of information up there about overall energy wellness. We put a blog up there, a lot of articles coming. We also have the tools that we use, like the energy wellness frequency tools and other things that we recommend. We also in 2026 will start building out the beta version of the entire energy wellness center directory, which will be global as we build it out over this next decade. Okay. And this will be places that have frequency technology, light technology, sound technology, all of that. This platform is going to be a hub for also distribution into these places of the latest, greatest technology to do what? To help people get into perfect alignment with who they are,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's so important. So both of those, are there for you and available for you. We're putting a lot of free public information on quantum energy wellness. So that's going to be really exciting. We also soon have a blog coming out for Step Into Your Power too. So we are on the move. We are on the move, and we understand exactly what we're here to do. And you can too understand exactly what you're here to do. And I know that rhymes, so that's really good. So you could too know exactly what you need to do if you put the time in, you know? So, Sister Honey, yeah, let's do a nice, beautiful breathing aware. Do your thing, and then I'll close it up. Once you're done, we can close it up together.
Okay. So I would like everybody just to get grounded, like feel your chair right now. Feel yourself sitting in your chair. And I want you to go ahead and put your hands like Jimmie said. So left hand and then right hand over the top, over your heart. And then I want you to think about all of the things that you would like to let go of. Okay. So maybe letting go of money worries is one of them. And I want you to imagine that you're wearing a jumpsuit. So just like a car mechanic would wear, or somebody that is going to be like, I don't know, flying. But think about that. You're in a mechanic suit, an outfit, and it's all one suit. And it's got long sleeves and long pants. And you're just going to attach all these things to that suit, worrying about money, worrying about relationship, worrying about whether your diet is good or not. So think about the habits, and you can do this exercise later as well, after you've done the column exercises. But think about all the things that you no longer want to be doing. What does your day look like? What are the things in your day that you don't like anymore? Maybe one of them is a 3D job. Put that on your suit. Pin it to that suit. So every single thing that you can think of that is old and doesn't serve you any longer and isn't going to help you vibrate up higher, I want you to pin all those things to that suit right now. Everything you can think of. And as you do that, I want you to remember what's underneath your hands right now. That divine spark that lives underneath your heart. That is the soul essence of you, and that will guide you into your highest timeline. Think about that spark right now. And as you do, I want you to let it grow. So breathe in, and as you breathe in, that spark will expand. And go ahead and breathe out, and then you're going to breathe in again, and you're going to expand it even further. And you're going to burn up that suit. So start letting that suit catch on fire. And this is not a fire that will burn your skin. And you can have clothes on underneath that suit. But that suit is just going to melt away from you. And all those things that no longer serve you are going to melt away along with it until it's a puddle. And then we're just going to let that turn to ash, and we're going to swirl it up out to just be turned back into pure energy. And I want you to look at that spark within you again. And I want you to remember how worthy you are of your highest timeline and of a beautiful existence here on Earth right now. And you can go ahead and take another breath and install that worthiness within you, and go ahead and open your eyes. Can't hear you.
I turned that off for a minute. We thank you all for being here with us today. We really love you all a lot. Make sure that you go through and watch this again, join the community, become part of the family that you're already part of. And, it's important. This is a very important month, and what we've talked about is really super important for you and for everybody. So I love you all very much. Sister Honey, any closing
Love you
words?
guys. Yeah, just take it easy and do that exercise again if you can. Okay.
Love you all.
Love
Take
you.
care.
Bye.